I'm honestly mostly making this video for other girls because maybe it'll inspire you to think about what your standards are, or if you don't have specific standards, maybe this will expand your mindset a little bit or bring up things that you didn't even think about that you actually realized are also important to you. So, my standards, first of all, I would only consider dating someone who's Catholic. And I'm not going to go in order of importance, but this is just the order of like what I have written down. Someone who pursues, because something that I realized is someone could check off every other box on this list, but if he's not interested in you, the relationship is not going to work. So, a non negotiable is the guy actually has to like you back. And that sounds self explanatory, but when you're actually in the situation of having a crush on someone who has not shown interest in you, this is why you have standards written down, because then you can look at it and realize, okay, this is a non negotiable. I should not be compromising on this. Okay. Oh, I guess like a sub heading of that is if a guy were to ask me out, the invitation should be a clear thing, like asking out and then also asking like, okay, what about this place at this time? If the guy like asks me out but then is like, what do you want to do? Or like, yeah, wishy-washy things like that, that would almost make me, or it might actually make me lose interest and like say no to the date just because it wasn't asked properly. I don't mean that to be harsh, but I mean, if you're a guy and you're watching this, maybe this will be eye-opening. Like, what are things you can do that actually increase your chances of showing pursuit in a relationship? Okay, some other standards for myself. Obviously, the guy does not have to be perfect or sinless, but there are certain sins that for me, I just would want to have as non negotiables in a relationship, mostly because they come down to, yeah, either it's something really serious or just trustworthiness for me is really important. So I want someone who does not tell inappropriate jokes, someone who doesn't swear, because I don't think it's too much to ask to find someone who doesn't do that, and someone who doesn't gossip. Even in friendships, like, I find it very hard. I cannot trust people who gossip, and obviously, I need to trust someone that I'll be in a relationship with. So, if that's like a habitual thing for someone, that's a non negotiable for me. Something that is unique to me specifically, like I don't think every person needs to have this on their list, but I want him to love worship, like be sold out for spirit led, expressive, like you're raising your hands and like jumping around and like being loud during worship. I know it's like a preference thing, but it's actually become really important in my own relationship with God. And so to find someone who's on the same page as me spiritually, I feel like I would want to meet someone who understands worship and values it the way that I do. Also, another standard is for him to be bought into evangelization, understanding the Great Commission. I understand that he might not know every single thing that, for example, like CCO missionaries are taught in formation, but in general, yeah, someone who has a missionary heart, like that should already be there. There's things that and I've wrestled with this because there's things that you can learn and help each other grow in when you're in a relationship. Again, not expecting perfection. But when it comes to the basic standards of being on the same page, I don't want evangelization to be something that I have to explain. It should be something that we're already on the same page about. And another thing that is more specific to me versus like a general standard is I want him to love charismatic faith, like when it comes to praying for prophetic words, praying over people, praying for healing, hearing God's voice, like just a really solid life of prayer. I think that's important because when I'm around people who love that, it really helps me grow. And so if I'm in something as important as like a marriage relationship one day, I would love for the guy to be able to lead me in growing in that aspect of faith. Yeah, another standard, he has to inspire me. I hope that's self-explanatory. Another non-negotiable, I feel like this one is very niche, but also self-explanatory. Like, we're compatible in terms of personality, because something that I've noticed is when I have a crush on someone, I will not speak to him. And I think that's a red flag personally, but I think also in terms of what I look for, it should be someone who I would actually just on a friendship level get along with. And the next standard is, I think this is one that everyone should have, someone who has Jesus at the center of his life, has a personal relationship with him, prays in his own words every day. There are so many, okay, I'm not going to talk about specific other people, but for example, if you pray only in devotionals and don't pray in your own words, then I'm not going to date you. If you don't read the Bible every day, I'm not going to date you, because that's also something that I think is not too much to ask. It's definitely rare to try and find that if that's what you're looking for, but that's definitely like a non-negotiable for me. Other non-negotiables: agrees with all church teachings. Yeah, the major red flags of like serious sins, like not habitually doing that.